goody, y'all? It's Ghiman Mckinney, your boy, back with another great video for you guys today. Be sure to like the video right now if you're rocking with your boy. Subscribe to the channel if you're new as well. I do post a ton of great sports videos like this weekly, and almost every single day if I can. Okay, the Florida Gators, man. We're going to preview their football schedule in 2019-2020. I'm excited for to watch the Florida Gators this year. I'm not a Florida fan. I am an Ohio State fan. But hey, you know, I love college football. I'm going over roughly 11 to 12 college football teams this offseason, giving record predictions for them. So the Florida Gators are no exception this year. So obviously Florida had a pretty good year last year. They went 10-3, lost to UK, lost to UGA, and lost to Missouri. Now, personally for me, I was shocked you guys lost to UK and Missouri. Missouri was a home game, but at the same time, they were decent teams last year, so I give you a pass for that. Obviously, UGA is more talented than you. There's no shame in losing that game. But then you obviously curb stop and mollywop and lay the smackdown on Michigan in a bowl game. I was so happy. I was so hyped. I'm an Ohio State fan. I was laughing my butt off that Michigan got ramrodded. Man, that was fun to watch, okay? But now, obviously, coming into 2019-2020, Florida is looking to make that big leap to potentially compete for the SEC title, maybe potentially compete for a college football playoff spot. We'll see if they can do that. But as far as Florida in the offseason, man, it's been a weird offseason for Florida. You've had recruits and transfers going in and out of this Florida program, transferring out, decommitting from Florida. I mean, Florida's lost a lot of recruits and players on their roster to a point now where you have to go back to 2015 to find the last five-star player that Florida has recruited and signed. And I'm about 95% sure there are no more five-star players on Florida's roster. I mean, you have to go back to 2015, the last time they signed one. I mean, maybe they have a transfer guy who's coming in that's a five-star, or they have some transfer guys. I don't know. But either way you look at it, Florida necessarily no longer has the five-star players the amount of five-star players at least that UGA, that Alabama, that Ohio State, that LSU, that Oklahoma even has now. They don't have that talent. So can they overcome that? I mean, you lose some key players. You lose Jordan Scarlett. You lose Jawan Taylor. You lose Ja'Kai Polite. You lose Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. But you do return 5 stars on offense and 7 stars on defense. And notably on defense, the most notable player you return is C.J. Henderson. I mean, the guy's a stud. He's going to be one of the next great cornerbacks to come out of Florida. Okay, Felipe Franks does return for you guys at quarterback. But you do have to replace 4 starting offensive linemen this year. 4 starting offensive linemen, not 5. Okay? That's going to be a struggle because in the SEC, you got teams like even Miami with a good defensive line, LSU, Auburn, I mean, Georgia. I mean, there are some pretty good defensive lines in the SEC. So can Florida retool some things? Can Felipe Franks take the next step? We don't know. We'll see. I think he's a decent quarterback. Not an elite quarterback, but he can get the job done. Let's find out right off the bat. You obviously open up with Miami in Orlando, Florida. You play UT Martin at UK, and then you play Tennessee at home. I think you actually can't lose that game to Miami. You'll beat UT Martin, you'll beat UK, and you'll beat Tennessee. I'll explain why I have you losing to Miami. Tate Martell. Tate Martell's the reason, okay? Look, I'm an Ohio State fan, so I know a whole lot about Tate Martell. I know more than him than some fans, okay? Tate Martell is a very, very talented quarterback coming in. He's one of the best quarterbacks that Miami will have in a long, long time. Miami's quarterback situation has been a mess. They've never had an elite quarterback for the longest. Tate Martell's the closest thing that'll come to it. He was a second-ranked dual-threat quarterback in his class for recruiting. He was undefeated in high school. He put up godly numbers at Bishop Gorman. This is the best quarterback Miami's going to have in a while. He's a dual-threat quarterback. He's a very strong arm. He can run around a lot. Miami's always going to have a great defense. They had a very good defense last year. They had a very good defense the year before that. And look, I think Miami actually will surprise some people this year. The fact that Florida does not have hardly any 5-star players anymore on that team, the fact they've lost some transfer players, I think it's going to hurt them. And let's be real, it was pretty much a neutral site game, so there'll be some Miami fans, there'll be some Florida fans there. But let's be real, Miami a year or two ago was riding high. They were facing Clemson in the ACC title game. They were running through college football. They were undefeated at one point. So Miami Miami had a down year last year. Usually teams when they have a down year tend to play up over their heads the next year and have a bounce back responding year. I think this is the case for Miami. I think they win a close game here. UT Martin, who are they? They're not a very good team. At UK, it's a tough place to play, but they do lose a lot of talent. They lose Josh Allen. They lose Benny Snell. They lose a very solid DB that they had last year. Let's be real. Terry Wilson. Oh my God. What a bad quarterback he is. The guy doesn't look like he knows what he's doing half the time. I don't see Terry Wilson doing anything versus this Florida defense. He's not a very good thrower of the football. You'll win that game. Tennessee's a decent team this year. I think that they've recruited at a decently high rate this past year. But again, Florida's just a better team to me. If you lose at Tennessee at home, man, the trolls will be there because Tennessee's not a very good program. All right, Towson at home the next game. Auburn at home, at LSU, at South Carolina. I think you'll actually lose to Auburn. I think you'll lose to LSU. Those 2 games you'll win. I have Auburn beating you. I think Auburn will surprise some people. You lose a lot of offensive line talent. You only return 1 offensive lineman starting from last year. Auburn's strength is the defensive line. That defensive line for Auburn is legit. Okay, it's a top 5 D-line, top 10 D-line in all college football. I think Derek Brown and Marlon Davis have a field day versus your offensive line. Joey Gatewood is potentially the starting quarterback for them, or Bo Nix. They're 2 very talented guys. I think they have a higher ceiling than Jarrett Stidham even had. And again, I just think that Auburn surprised some people this year. At LSU, look, you beat them last year, I get it. If it was in Florida, I'd pick you again. But it's at LSU, their secondary is nasty. They might have a top 3 secondary in all college football. Grant Dilpit is amazing. They were able to land the #1 cornerback in the 2019 draft, 2019 recruiting class. Joe Burrow should be better. People forget, Joe Burrow landed on campus literally in late July to early August. The guy did not have a full dissection of the playbook. I think he comes back even better. They brought in Joe Brady from the New Orleans Saints coaching staff to coach the wide receivers and be the passing coordinator. So, look, LSU's always going to have elite running backs. I think LSU beats you guys. And again, they're the better team to me. They're the better team than you. I think you lose that game at South Carolina. Decent team. Jake Bentley's a decent quarterback, but you're coming off 2 losses. I think you get a desperation win there. South Carolina's not a better team to me than you. You'll win that game. And then the next 4 games of your season, you play Georgia in Jacksonville, Vanderbilt at home, at Missouri, and then you play Florida State. You'll lose to Georgia, but you'll win the rest of your games. So I have you with 4 losses on the entire year. I'll explain the Georgia game in a minute. Listen, Georgia absolutely blew you out last year. It was competitive for a little bit, but let's be real. Never in my mind, when watching that game, did I think that Florida could beat Georgia. Not at one point in that game did I come across saying, man, Florida might beat Georgia. No, it didn't happen. Georgia, the only question for Georgia is wide receiver. They have some inexperienced players at wide receivers. But the fact that Georgia has recruited at such an insanely high level, they have a bunch of 5-star and 4-star wide receivers that they can just bring in and plug in to replace those guys, like Mecole Hardman, like Riley Ridley, okay? So, again, Georgia, offensive line, quarterback, D-line, secondary, they're elite pretty much at every level. They have the best offensive line in college football this coming year. I think you lose that game to Georgia. They're just a better team than you. It's in Jacksonville. You have a shot because of that, but you'll lose to Georgia. Vanderbilt at home, I think you'll win that game. They did compete with Notre Dame last year, but let's be real. Notre Dame, they played out in the competition all of last year versus some of these bad teams. You'll win that game easily. At Missouri. Now, Missouri actually beat you last year. They've owned you in a couple games the past couple years. Kelly Bryant's a pretty good quarterback. He obviously was at Clemson, did lead them to the college football playoffs a couple years ago. It's at their place, but I think you get revenge. I think that you're just a better team than Missouri. I think it was a little bit of an aberration they beat you in your house this past year. Drew Lock's a very talented guy, but Kelly Bryant's not Drew Lock. Then you play Florida State at home. What a roller coaster ride of a team Florida State is. I mean, man. One minute Florida State was competing for national titles, making the college football playoffs. Now they're not even making bowl games. The Florida State, Willie Taggart, that guy doesn't know what he's doing. He's over his head. Alex Hornibrook's not a very good quarterback. Cam Akers is a very good running back, but let's be real. You blew them out at their house last year. I don't see you losing to them at home this year. This man, Willie Taggart's over his head. Florida State has the talent. They have the talent to beat Florida. They actually might have more 5-star players than Florida, but they're just like USC. They don't win with the talent they have. They do a lot. They do less with more. They have a ton of talent, but they don't use the talent the right way. Their offensive line is in shambles. It's one of the worst offensive lines in all the Power 5. I got you beating Florida State, but hey, 8-4 for Florida this year. You finished with 3 losses on the year last year. I think you take a slight step back and you finish with 4 losses in the regular season. Now, you potentially could make a New Year's 6 bowl. I don't know. You'll be a top 15, top 10 team all year. But again, just the fact that you don't have hardly any more 5-star players on this team because of recruiting, because of players leaving. You didn't sign any 5-star players in your 2019 class. No 5-star players in your 2018 class. The last 5-star player you signed was back in 2015. You're devoid of some talent. You have Dan Mullen's a decent coach. Felipe Frank's a decent quarterback. You're always going to run the ball well. Your defense and secondary will always have NFL players. But I just think anywhere between Miami, Auburn, LSU, Georgia, you probably take some losses. Okay, I could see 10. I could see 10-2. I could see 9-3. But I'm going with 8-4. You Florida fans can deal with it. I don't care. Hey, that's just my take. That's a wrap for this video. Be sure to like the video right now if you're rocking with your boy. Subscribe to the channel if you're new as well. I do post a ton of great sports videos like this weekly, almost every single day if I can. It's my favorite thing in the world to do, to make YouTube content for you guys. I love doing it. I want this channel to grow. So just share this content on Facebook, share it on Twitter, share it on Instagram, share it wherever you can. I want this channel to grow. I want to go to ESPN. I want to go to Fox Sports 1 one day. I want to have a big time network of my own maybe one day. I think I'm building something special with this YouTube channel. So just help me grow by telling your friends about the Juice Alert and Ghiman Mckinney, my name, aka Juice, in 2019. Get people hip. It's been your boy Ghiman Mckinney, and I'm Ghost, and I'm out.